What's up? Welcome to Decaf, where I am very caffeinated. Mark, are you caffeinated?
Yeah, third one. I got this. I did two coffees, so I'm really
Wait,
good.
Mark, that is
Mhm.
bad for your heart, which we
No,
will
this,
get to
no, this
later.
one's good. No, my heart's been good recently, but no, this is like the healthy one.
You're stressing me out.
Yeah, this one barely has any caffeine to it, but it has organic ginseng and guarina, like guarini, like
I
Justin, but I don't know.
okay, that was the worst transition you've ever made. And if anyone understood that other than me,
Nobody knows who Justin Guarini is anymore, so I think we're okay.
okay, everyone remembers the infamy of Justin meets Kelly or whatever that was.
Oh yeah.
From
With
Justin
Justin,
to
right,
Kelly.
I never saw that movie. That must have. I remember he did the Dr. Pepper commercials.
It was so bad. Bless his heart. I wonder where he is.
He lost, right, to Kelly Clarkson
Yeah.
in American Idol. But like, it's funny that like, it is funny thing about American Idol. Like, I remember when Carrie Underwood won, I used to watch it, and I was so mad because I thought Bo Bice should have won. I'm like, Bo Bice is so much better. And then like looking at their careers, I'm like, I was wrong.
Yes, Bo Bice was an Alabama guy, and I was like, if people didn't see his long hair, they would like him.
I mean, they did like him. He came in second, and he actually has like two really great songs. Like he's released. Like I actually still like him, but he's not quite to the Carrie Underwood level. And the most underrated American Idol people don't realize Daughtry was on there. He came in like fourth,
Yeah.
but he's great.
Remember? Oh, that girl, Jennifer Hudson. She came in like eighth.
Oh, I know. Yeah, and she became she became more famous for like her acting, I feel like, than her singing.
I guess, but she's kind of multi-talented. Like she's
Oh
kind of
yeah, she's super talented. I liked, and obviously as a big Clay Aiken fan, I thought he should have beaten Ruben. Neither of them had real careers.
I know. Poor Ruben. He was another Birmingham guy that we.
Oh yeah, he seemed like the nicest guy though. I remember like watching like him and Clay had this like like great relationship too.
Yes, I remember they did this is so bad, but they did like this rally at his high school, Huffman High School. And I was like, Mom, can we go? And Huffman is in a really bad part of Birmingham. And my mom, and I was like 8. And Mom was like, probably not. So I'm probably not just gonna drop you off in Birmingham by yourself to go to a rally for an American Idol contestant. You're 8. I was like, okay.
That used to be a great show. I remember that was kind of like the first show of its kind. Like now you have like The Voice, you have America's Got Talent and stuff. And now I think American Idol's kind of, but I mean, with Simon kind of being rude to people and Randy Jackson being awesome.
Yes.
And one girl being just drunk all the time, Paula Abdul. So it's
Paula, she was so drunk all the time. Man, miss her. I
always slept with a contestant too.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I think that's why she actually got thrown off there. I don't think you're supposed to do that. I don't know the rules, but it sounds
so
like
Andy.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, but I miss those days. I was growing up like 12 or 13 and watching like the American Idol.
And Randy Jackson, when he would always go, "It's a no for me, dog." I still say that.
He was the best. And let's not. Oh man, I still love that they have the what was that? The movie with Will Ferrell, the Step Brothers, where they have like, this sword is signed by Randy Jackson.
Famous.
Always being pop culture history.
That is so good. Okay, we've got to move on because I could talk about American Idol forever. Justin wrote a really cool blog post this week that's gotten a lot of attention, and it doesn't rip to shreds the PRO Act like what you or I would have done, but it very tastefully dismisses the PRO Act as really, really bad policy for workers, because essentially what would happen is, not even essentially, like what would happen is right to work, which is a policy in 27 states, correct? And it's been the policy in Tennessee since 1947, would be outlawed across the country, which I think is so silly. We had a speaker at our young professionals meeting the other night who said, he made a really good point where he just said, the founders intended the states to be the laboratories of democracy. So if a state wants to take up the whole healthcare bill for the rest of their state, that should be state policy. If a state wants to protect workers through right to work, that should be state policy. The federal government has no business putting their hand in things like that. That should be state policy. And I agree. And so from the federal level, something like the PRO Act, dismantling right to work nationwide would be really bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's good that Justin wrote this post. And of course, right to work is good policy. We know that. I mean, all the numbers bear that out. If you look at the stats, it always shows that right to work states do better in terms of like real income when you kind of base it on cost of living and everything. But no, Justin had a great point. I think that's an issue, is that this PRO Act, I mean, no matter what you think, it's like, should the federal, even if you are kind of against right to work, I don't quite understand the argument still. It's just people who don't, I guess,
understand it.
People, the freedom to associate. And yeah, so many people misunderstand it, as we talked about. But it's like, why do you want the federal government passing a law kind of overriding this states' rights issue? So I don't understand it. Justin did a great job on the blog. I'm not going to even explain anymore because he did better than I would. So, but it was a great understanding. I think it's got like It's one of our best performing blog posts. I think it had like 241 likes or something.
Oh my gosh.
Again, like almost 4,000 views, I think. So
I didn't even see that. That's incredible.
yeah, it's killing it. Yeah,
Wow, it is killing it.
So definitely read it.
Definitely read it. And if you don't understand what right to work is, we have some videos on our website that explain the difference between right to work and employment at will, because they are very different. They're completely unrelated. And that's what people get confused about. So if you're confused, email me and I can explain it, or watch those videos. Speaking of the federal government taking over things and it being really, really bad, let's give President Biden some props, because this week he said something that I super agree with. Mark, do you have the quote still pulled up?
I do.
Read it for us.
So this is all about Cuba and kind of the fall of Cuba. And obviously, we have given, President Biden a lot of heat for a lot of things he's done. I think that policy-wise, he has been pretty disastrous overall. But you have to give people credit where it's due. And so as this Cuba thing is happening, his quote was that communism is a failed system, a universally failed system. And I don't see socialism as a very useful substitute. So, I mean, not only did he hammer communism, which, I mean, that's a little bit easier to do, but he also talked about socialism being a bad thing, which, I mean, that's going to make the left wing, the far left wing of his party mad. So, I mean, again, it doesn't mean that any of his policies are any better or what he's done is better, but you got to give credit where it's due. And I think that's a great line and something that, I mean, it's good that he is not giving into this, like, oh, we should be a full socialist thing. Like, I don't agree with socialism. Of course, he agrees with much more government than I do. But I want to say this too, and I think it's an important point, and I'm going to mention this in my post, but I think that the left always intentionally misconstrues what capitalism is. And I'm going to write a blog post about it, which I kind of wrote and hopefully will be published next week. But they misconstrue what this is. And it's everything that they don't like is capitalism, and everything that's bad is capitalism. So like when you talk about cronyism, or you talk about a company paying no money in taxes, or you talk about, the rich getting benefits that the poor people don't get, that's not capitalism, it's the government involvement, but they always blame these problems on capitalism.
Yes.
On the other side, the right says that everything they don't like is socialism. And that's not fair either. Like, it's like, yeah, it might be more government, it might be bad policy, but it's not socialism, saying, oh, we want the rich to pay more in taxes. That's not socialism. It's bad policy, but it's not socialism. So I think people on the right need to stop calling everything socialism that they don't like. And the people on the left need to stop calling everything capitalism they don't like. I mean, it's not helpful, and it's not a real understanding of what that is. And that's why so many people misunderstand both socialism, where they think it's better than it is, because if the Republicans are saying, oh, this is socialism, and it's something they like, they'll be like, oh, well, I like that. And then why capitalism has a lower view, because everything bad that's associated with kind of the worst part of capitalism aren't actually capitalism, but the left keeps talking about that. So I think it's just something we need to keep in mind, but good for Biden for kind of saying communism's awful and so is socialism.
Yeah. One of the points you made in your blog post is that when people are slapping capitalism, they always say, they always conflate Amazon and capital. They're like, Amazon is like the beast of capitalism. And I saw a tweet the other day that said it was after the Blue Origin rocket went to space with Jeff Bezos in it. And it said, going to space is cool, but how about paying taxes? Like, they were trying to come after him. And that's not a Jeff Bezos problem. That's a government problem. When the government has so many loopholes that hundreds of accountants that work for Amazon can find and then not have to pay as many taxes, that's not an Amazon problem. That's Amazon taking advantage of the system that we have, rather than the U.S. government fixing the holes in that, where Amazon does have to pay exactly what the small businesses, on the same rate that small businesses do. So I think
I got to say the best critique of capitalism, which is the dumbest thing I've heard, is when people say capitalism is the only way that Jeff Bezos can make, $11 billion during the pandemic while all these small businesses lose money. It's like, no, it was your shutdowns that did that. That was actually the government that was responsible for him making that much money, not the other. Like, that's insane. That's the opposite of capitalism.
Yes.
So, but with that being said,
like, if you could have gone to a small business to buy what you wanted, or if you could
it wouldn't have
your
happened.
House and gone to these small businesses, you wouldn't be forced to do Amazon. So, like, come on, guys.
I know. So it's like, and it's so disingenuous, but I think at the same time, it's easy for us to say everything we don't like is socialism, but that's not the fact, and when people call Barack Obama a socialist, he wasn't a socialist. He did a lot of things I didn't like, but he wasn't a socialist. So you can't just equate everything you don't like with socialism, because that's not helpful. And it will make people think more highly of socialism than actually pointing out what it is. So again, it's kind of a roundabout way of saying, we don't agree with a lot of what he does, but good for Joe Biden for kind of hammering communism and socialism.
Good for him. I do agree with that. Put that on the wall of my office. Just like make me realize that he's got something going on up there that I agree with. Let's talk sports. I know nothing about basketball. I didn't even know the Bucks were a team until a few weeks ago. Never heard of them in my life. I like literally, where did they come from? I just don't follow basketball maybe, but I literally
they won a championship 50 years ago. So they've been around for quite a while as an NBA team.
I have never even heard of them until a couple of weeks ago, but apparently they're good because they won.
They won the NBA championship. It was the first time in 50 years. And one of the cool things was Giannis Antetokounmpo, who's their best player. He celebrated by going to McDonald's the next morning. He got a 50-piece chicken nugget after he scored 50 points the night before. And did this whole viral video. And he's got a great.
Yeah. There's a guy from the Suns that went to Chick-fil-A the morning after they won one of their games, and he Instagram lived the whole thing, like ordering at Chick-fil-A and just talking
That's Giannis. That wasn't the Suns. That's the same guy. It's the same video. No, he's from the Bucks. He's the Bucks best player. They beat the Suns.
Chick-fil-A, Mark. Can you go to McDonald's?
I'm sorry. You're right. Chick-fil-A. That's my bad. It was Chick-fil-A. But yes, that was Giannis, not the Suns player, because the Suns lost.
I know nothing.
But it was a cool thing. The city of Milwaukee is so excited. I mean, I went to college in Milwaukee. I actually accidentally wore my Marquette hat, which is we play in the same arena as the Bucks do. But it was a really exciting moment for Milwaukee, and it's kind of a city that's been beaten down a little bit. I think the reputation for Milwaukee is it's a cool city and people don't understand it. So it's kind of a good win for the underdogs too. Like even the star player said, like, it would have been easy to put together a super team and win, but like we've built this from the ground up and they won. I didn't watch one game in the finals because it's still so raw for me. And this was the one year where everything broke, where the Jazz could have won it all. We really could have, but we couldn't beat the Clippers. But I didn't watch one game. First time I've ever. It was just so hard. I'm like, this could have been us, and this was the one year we actually could have won.
Mark is so triggered right now. Everyone listening.
Congrats to the Bucks. I wanted them to win. Good for them. Giannis is great. I love Chris Middleton, one of my favorite players. And congrats to all the Bucks fans, all my friends that went to school with me. Everyone was very excited. Megan and all our staff was excited. So good for all you Bucks fans. Congratulations.
Congratulations to you guys. I expect your team to go back into relative anonymity and me not.
They actually probably will. I actually told the NBA odds for next year, and like they're like the 5th or 6th best odds of winning. It basically, and I don't mean to take anything away, but everything broke right. Like Brooklyn, the best team, had 2 of their best players hurt for most of the series. They played them. They were up 2-0. The Clippers had their best player hurt. Kawhi Leonard. The Lakers kind of got this bad seed. So everything broke right where the Bucks won. If they did this playoffs again fully healthy, they would probably lose in the second round. But it doesn't matter. It's the luck of the draw, and they won. So good for them.
Well, let's talk about something that I actually know something about, which is SEC. There's a rumor that Oklahoma and Texas want to join the SEC, and this is SEC Media Days. My day was so bonkers, insane, crazy yesterday that I haven't even watched Nick Saban's remarks, but my mom said he was very poised and brilliant, as always. Love that man, would die for him. But what do you think, Mark? I mean, you hate the SEC. I think that we don't need any more teams, but it always would be fun to beat Oklahoma, because I have a friend that went there, and gosh, I would love to beat him. Texas, had about enough of them. They can go the way of the buffalo, whatever. But if they want to join the SEC, I don't know. Part of me says welcome in, would love to beat another few teams. Another part of me says you're not on our level. That's so.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's an interesting thing. So the rumor, the rumors that Oklahoma and Texas both want to join the SEC. We don't know that for a fact. And of course it makes sense because there's a lot more money in it, the SEC, than there's the Big 12.
Sure.
And Texas A&M did that, years ago.
Missouri.
Missouri too. So like there is a history of doing that. And Oklahoma and Texas are kind of the two highest profile teams from the conference. They've been the two most successful. I mean, I think Oklahoma has 7 national championships. So they've been pretty successful. I think Texas has, I think, I don't know, 3 or 4, but I mean, they're always in the top 25. They're always competitive. I mean, Oklahoma kind of beat the hell out of an SEC team last year when they beat Florida by like 5 touchdowns. So it's not like they can't
welcome that.
It's not they can't compete though. So I mean, I think they would kind of at the top end of that. But the question is, like, you don't want to as a fan, I don't want to see a super conference where almost all the other conferences are irrelevant. Right now, the SEC is super overrated. And again, every time we talk about it, maybe they're the best conference, maybe they're not. Just because you have the best team doesn't make you the best overall conference though. Sure. And the fact that Oklahoma beat the crap out of Florida was like the second best team shows you that. Alabama was the best team, but it's not necessarily the best conference. So I don't like the idea of kind of two like teams that could be powerhouses. Oklahoma's been really good. Texas is kind of hit or miss. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. I don't like the idea of them joining the same conference. And then you're, you might have six SEC teams in the top 10 because they already get that preferential treatment. And I just don't think it's good for college football.
I agree. You remember in 2009 when Alabama played Texas for the national championship and Colt
That was-
McCoy, he messed up his arm and his arm was just like slinging around. Like it was like a dead arm. Like he couldn't feel anything. Do you remember that?
Not really. Most of my memories are actually like Vince Young when they won the national championship there.
His arm wasn't broken, but something happened to like a nerve. I don't remember. It's been over 10 years.
Yeah, I think outside I do. Yeah, I mean it is.
He had a dead arm, and I just feel so bad for him. I have nothing against.
He still has a dead arm, but it's just not because he's not good. He's actually still in the NFL. Did you know that?
He is?
I mean, he's like a third string quarterback. He's been this whole career, but like he still plays. He still gets paid. So good for him.
Good for him. Wow, he's really extended that career. That was when I was a senior in high school.
He's better than almost all the Alabama quarterbacks that have gone to the NFL.
Really? Yeah, it's a crap fest of Alabama quarterbacks.
It was always like, I remember when Alabama was even really good at the beginning. It's like their quarterbacks were not that good, and then their kickers were terrible. And it's like when they lost
the kicker.
I know that's changed recently, but I remember like back in like that kind of 2006, 2012, where Alabama was really good, but like you'd have a quarterback that wasn't that good, and then you'd have a kicker who missed so many big kicks, and you probably missed a couple national championships because of that.
I still think like it's something about like PTSD in my system that when it comes down to Alabama having to kick, I'm like on my knees, like, dear God, please just let it get close to the goalposts.
Well, Saban seems to have figured that out. He's recruiting better kickers and quarterbacks now. But yeah, so I hope it doesn't happen. I think it would really condense the power. And from what I've understood, it's going to have a really bad chance of happening. Like it's probably not going to happen because Texas and Oklahoma both have these contracts till 2025 that they can't get out of, and they're like TV contracts. So if it did happen, it would likely be farther down the road and not in the next 3 or 4 years.
All right, well, we can have some time to process this. Before we go, I am leaving in a few hours to go to one of my best friend's bachelorette parties on the Bay, Chesapeake Bay in Maryland. And Mark, is getting married this year. My sister's getting married this year. There's a lot of love in the air. I've been left out of all of it, but there's a lot of love in the air. And so Mark, if you could plan your ideal bachelor party, and I hope your groomsmen or friends are listening, if you could plan your ideal bachelor party, what would it look like?
Yeah, I mean, I actually had an idea for a bachelor party before, but like, I actually just don't really want one. I had some hard issues, like, I'm going to cancel this because, but like, that's not, I feel like all the things that, encompass a bachelor party, which is like a lot of drinking. I mean, some people go to, like gamble, do whatever. And it's like, I get it. I feel like I would have liked that a lot more 10 years ago. And now I just kind of want to relax. Like, I mean, if I was going to do it, I just kind of want, my best friends, not too many though. It was like, when I was my bachelor, like, I want to invite 20 people or 25 people. Like these people don't know them. And they're like, and I just don't want to chaperone. So it's almost like my best bachelor party would be like 4 separate bachelor parties with like different friends, but you just go and hang out for the night and just talk and reminisce. And that's kind of it. I think if you would have asked me 10 years ago, I would have had a different opinion, but that's my opinion now. Yeah, exactly. Which is, I don't know. I guess yours is going to be, I feel like women's generally, maybe not in Nashville, but bachelorette parties are generally more low key, but I feel like not here.
Right. No, I think like this might be an unpopular opinion. I might live to regret this, but an ideal bachelorette party for me would be where I get to go by myself to a house in a really pretty part of the country and spend time alone before I have to live with a boy.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's fair. Yeah.
If I'm going to have to live, if I have to live with the boy, I have to live and travel with the boy for the rest of my life. I feel like I'm just going to want to go on one final solo hurrah.
Yeah, not have to worry about cleaning up after people or them being dirty or not putting the dishes away.
Yeah, drink some wine.
You might do that now anyway, but.
Oh my gosh. Drink some wine, read some books, just chill by myself, not have any expectations. That's my ideal bachelorette party.
See, I'm going to mostly agree with you. I feel like that's not my bachelor party, but I feel like that's why I need, once I get married, I'm going to need like 1 or 2 kind of trips by myself per year, just so I have that. And like, I mean, again, not read or drink wine, but like just that idea, like I have a goal. So I'm getting married in September. I have a goal to go to New York City by myself in March, watch some basketball. It'll be the Big East tournament and just hang out.
Yeah. I think the thought of having to live and travel with the boy for the rest of my life scares me, and I would need to have some time by myself before that.
I suggest, this is my relationship advice, not that I should give any, but I feel like everyone should do at least one, solo trip per year. And it could be something, some people don't like to go somewhere by themselves, but like you said, just go to a cabin or go to something, go do a staycation, just stay in a hotel for 2 days by yourself. Yeah.
Yes. Just have a little bit of alone time.
Yeah. I think it kind of refreshes you. And I mean, to me, it refreshes me. And it's like, I have some time just to
Yeah, you got two introverts with really big personalities here who just need some alone time
Right.
every now and then. It's not that you don't love Kira, and not that I'm not gonna love who I
Yeah.
settle down with, but I'm gonna need some time by myself.
Yep, I'm with you.
To be my best self. All right, well, we finally agree on something. Love to hear it. Happy Thursday, happy weekend for me. I have the day off tomorrow, and we'll see you guys next week.
And shout out to Bo Bice.
And shout out to Bo Bice forever, Alabama forever.